Welcome back to our series about underrated Canadian rock bands. Canada's music scene is full of incredible groups that never reached the fame they deserved, especially outside the country. Today, we're diving into 10 more hidden gems that shaped Canadian rock in surprising ways.
Are you looking alright? Yeah. Let's make it tonight. What you saying?
Let's kick things off with a band that blasted out of the gates with serious force, Moxy. Formed in Toronto in the mid-1970s, they delivered a heavy, guitar-driven sound that fit perfectly alongside early hard rock giants. Their self-titled debut instantly set them apart, combining gritty riffs, punchy rhythms, and a vocal intensity that demanded attention. In fact, American rock audiences, especially in Texas, embraced Moxy more than Canadians did at the time, proving how universal their energy really was.
When you get so high, don't pass it by. Just jump in my car.
What I love most about Moxy is how fearless they were musically. They pushed their sound harder and heavier while still keeping everything melodic and tight. Songs like Can't You See I'm a Star and Moonrider show a band firing on all cylinders, ready to conquer any stage. Yet despite strong albums and serious touring, widespread fame slipped through their fingers. Today, Moxy stands as a true hidden treasure in Canada's rock history. Next up is a group that never cared about trends or rules, and that's exactly what made Goddo so special. They formed in Toronto in 1975, and this trio built a reputation for sharp musicianship, clever lyrics, and a rebellious, sometimes sarcastic edge. They weren't trying to fit in or chase trends. Goddo played exactly what they wanted, blending hard rock, blues, and progressive touches into a sound that felt both rough and sophisticated. What makes Goddo so intriguing is their personality. Frontman Greg Godovitz delivered performances full of character, attitude, and humor, which gave the band a unique identity that set them apart from their peers. Albums like Who Cares and Pretty Bad Boys showed strong songwriting, strong grooves, and a genuine honesty you simply didn't hear from many rock acts at the time. Despite critical respect and a loyal fan base, Goddo never reached major commercial success. Nowadays, they're recognized as one of Canada's most underrated and refreshingly unfiltered rock bands.
Working frustration, get it off your chest. There's no motivation.
Moving on, the next band I want to highlight is Santers, a trio that deserved way more attention than they ever got. Third band in a row that formed in Toronto. In the early 1980s, the band delivered polished hard rock with impressive guitar work from Rick Santers, whose playing combined finesse, melody, and serious technical skill. Their sound fits perfectly alongside big names in melodic rock of the early 80s, yet Santers remained more of a cult favorite than a mainstream success. I admire this band's professionalism. Just listen to their albums, especially Racing Time and Shot Down in Flames. They sound incredibly tight, filled with crisp production, catchy hooks, and strong musicianship. You can hear influences from classic hard rock, but the band always kept things clean and refined, never losing their identity. Despite touring internationally and gaining pockets of dedicated fans, Santers never broke through commercially. I think we should recognize them for being a true hidden gem of Canadian hard rock, talented, consistent, and deserving of far more recognition than they ever received. Now here's a fun one. The Killer Dwarfs, a band that mixed attitude, humor, and heavy rock like nobody else. They formed in the early 1980s, and blended hard rock and glam metal with a playful sense of humor, giving them a unique personality in a crowded scene. Songs like Keep the Spirit Alive and Stand Tall showcase their ability to mix energy, melody, and positivity into something genuinely uplifting. What makes the Killer Dwarfs underrated is how close they came to bigger success. They had rotation on MTV, toured internationally, and built a dedicated fan base. Their performances were high energy, charismatic, and full of charm, proving they had everything it took to become major players in the 80s rock world. Yet for reasons that often come down to timing and marketing, they never fully crossed into mainstream popularity. The Killer Dwarfs are now celebrated as a cult favorite, known for passion, personality, and pure rock spirit. Did you know that Teenage Head was already stirring up Canada's punk scene before most people even knew what punk was? Formed in Hamilton in the mid-1970s, they delivered fast, energetic, no-nonsense rock that hit with the force of early punk icons. Their album Frantic City is still considered a Canadian punk classic, filled with raw riffs, catchy hooks, and a contagious sense of rebellion.
The lights are low, we're dancing slow, the music's cool, great sensation.
What makes Teenage Head special is their authenticity. They didn't imitate the American or British punk scenes. They carved out their own sound, mixing punk attitude with rock and roll swagger. Their live shows were wild, sweaty, and unforgettable, helping them build a devoted following long before punk became mainstream. Despite strong albums and legendary concerts, their chance at major success was cut short by, again, unfortunate timing and industry challenges. Today, Teenage Head is a cornerstone of Canadian rock history, a band that influenced many but never got the global spotlight they earned through sheer passion and energy.
Just be sensible, you'd find me indispensable.
What I find interesting about Honeymoon Suite is how effortlessly they blended emotion, melody, and rock power. The band from Niagara Falls crafted a polished mix of hard rock, AOR, and pop influences that defined much of Canadian radio in the 1980s. Their hits, New Girl Now, Feel It Again, and Burning in Love, proved they could write songs with big hooks and genuine heart. Honeymoon Suite had the sound, image, and songwriting needed to break internationally, yet their fame stayed mostly within Canada. That's a pity. What often gets overlooked is how consistently strong their musicianship remained throughout their catalog. Even so, they never faded creatively. They continued releasing solid material, showing a commitment to melody and emotional depth that set them apart from many peers. Today, Honeymoon Suite stands as one of Canada's most underappreciated melodic rock bands outside Canada, fully deserving of the broader recognition they never quite achieved.
From a girl you knew long ago, on a holiday with her.
The next band in our lineup is The Spoons. This group brought style, sophistication, and ambition to Canadian new wave rock. They broke through in the early 1980s with Nova Heart, Romantic Traffic, and Old Emotions. These songs blended atmospheric synth textures with expressive vocals and thoughtful lyrics.
A bit too slow, someone hits her from behind.
Their music was catchy yet textured, carefully arranged and ahead of its time, modern without losing emotional connection. Even today, their records sound fresh thanks to clean production and clever songwriting. Despite success in Canada, they never found the international audience their sound could easily have reached. Their influence on Canada's alternative and synth-driven rock scene is undeniable. The band remains a creative and underrated band whose vision and emotional depth deserve far more attention than they ever received. Now let's talk about Glass Tiger, a band whose music deserved far more global recognition than it received. Rising to fame in the mid-1980s with hits like Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone and Someday, they crafted a polished blend of pop rock and soft rock that resonated with Canadian listeners. Their sound combined heartfelt vocals, shimmering production, and carefully crafted melodies that made their songs instantly memorable. Glass Tiger had everything needed to succeed internationally, yet their recognition remained limited. They were often overshadowed by bigger American and British acts, despite having material strong enough to compete with them. Listening today, you will notice the sincerity and craftsmanship in their music standing out even more. Their catalog contains strong, expressive rock songs that still hold up decades later. Do you agree that Glass Tiger deserves greater credit as one of Canada's most accomplished melodic rock bands whose work extends well beyond their biggest singles? Let me know in the comments. You see, when it comes to 1980s Canadian rock with attitude and style, Platinum Blonde had the complete package. They burst onto the scene with an electrifying mix of new wave pop rock and emotional songwriting, instantly making an impact. With hits like Doesn't Really Matter, Standing in the Dark, and Crying Over You, they created a sound that was sleek, dramatic, and instantly recognizable. Their songwriting and production were strong enough to compete with major international new wave acts, yet their recognition rarely extended beyond domestic borders. Even now, listeners tend to remember only a few singles, overlooking how deep and well-crafted their albums truly were. Platinum Blonde helped define a distinct era of Canadian rock, and they deserve far more credit for their creativity and contribution. And finally, we close the video with Mahogany Rush. We discussed them before, but this time with the focus fully on Frank Marino. He remains one of Canada's most overlooked guitarists, and his originality and emotional depth set him apart. He's often compared to Jimi Hendrix, blending blues, psychedelia, and hard rock into a fluid, expressive style that was instantly recognizable. What is important to remember is that Mahogany Rush was never just a showcase for Marino's guitar skills. The band behind him delivered tight and energetic performances that elevated every song. Albums like Strange Universe, IV, and their celebrated Life record reveal a group performing at a level that far exceeded their commercial profile. Despite their talent, they never broke into mainstream success, especially outside Canada. Today, Mahogany Rush, and especially Frank Marino, stand as some of Canadian rock's most underrated names. Hope you enjoyed discovering another round of underrated Canadian rock bands. These artists helped shape the country's sound, even if the spotlight never fully found them. Which band should make it into the next part? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more hidden Canadian rock gems.